Hey, what's up, metalheads? This is Steve Zetro, Souza from Exodus, and you are watching Planet Metal!
Steve, you are in Exodus again since last year.
Yeah.
After a 10-year break. How was it for you to rearrange your life in a band? I mean, you have been in Hatred meanwhile, but how is it going with Exodus so far this year?
Well, I was trying to parlay Hatred into, trying to do music full time again, which is actually looks like it's going to happen pretty good, but. It's been everything I wanted it to be. I mean, we've been touring constantly. We did a great record came out, so I'm having a lot of fun with it. So it's a lot better. It's the best time for me so far. Yep. Out of all of the initial time, the period between Tempo of the Damned and now, it's the best time for me.
But compared to Tempo of the Damned, the new record, Blood In, Blood Out, is how does it feel to you? Because 10 years, very much was happening in those 10 years in the scene.
I think actually I like the album the best out of all the Exodus albums. Out of Tempo of the Damned, Fabulous Disaster, Pleasures, Bonded. I love Blood In, Blood Out the best. I think it's the fastest album. Definitely back to sheer Exodus, violent, brutality. I think everybody's musicianship in the band is definitely the best it's ever been as far as that's concerned. So I think that everybody's just playing really well.
Now Gary Holt is committed with Slayer at the moment, so you got Craig Lum in the band, I guess. He's with Heaton normally.
Yeah.
So he played with Lee Altus already in Heaton, so you got the Heaton guitar section in the band now for this tour.
I guess so, but Lee is just still so much Exodus too, so I think it fits right in, and Cragen does a great job of being Gary's stunt double, so it works out really well, and as you'll see tonight, the songs are really tight, and the set's really good, and it's a good bevy of what we've done over the last 30 years, so...
Do you think it's getting too much work for Gary to handle both bands?
I think maybe at this point right now, because there is a new Slayer record that's coming out, and Exodus has a record that's only been out 7 or 8 months, so that doesn't normally happen all the time. So I'm sure in the next year, in the next few years or year or so, it'll break off. Gary will play with us again. This is Gary's band. Everybody knows that. So it's just Slayer does have a new record out, so he does have commitments with Slayer.
The main reason you dropped out of the band beginning of the new millennium was family reasons mainly.
Yes.
I guess because you didn't have very much time to do a band.
No, I was raising children at that time, and my mindset was to make sure that that they became productive members of society, let's just say, and now they're in Hatred, and now they live, all the kids live on their own, they're older, so I can come and do this now, and I don't have any distractions at home.
But you still do a normal job?
No, not anymore.
Not anymore?
No, I stopped doing that. When I rejoined Exodus last year, I stopped doing that. The Exodus does well enough that I don't have to do that anymore.
That's cool. But it wasn't always that way, because you were in the band 3 times now. You left the band 2 times.
Well, no, the first time I didn't leave the band. First time Gary Holt dissolved.
The band disbanded.
He just dissolved to the band. I never left anything. I only left once.
Yeah, of course, the band disbanded. The first years in the Bay Area scene, you were living in it, you lived through it, you were experienced the whole eruption of metal which was going on there.
Sure.
How is it for somebody standing inside this whole thing? Because for us from the outside, it's just it's the Bay Area, and it's just like a miracle happened there because all the bands came from there. How is it for you, who was in the middle of it?
Must have been something in the water. I don't know. It just seemed like at the time none of us had really any touch to what was going on anywhere else in the world. There was no internet. All we knew was tape trading. We thought every other city had 12 great thrash bands in them, you know. And when we started touring, we found out that it wasn't like that, and making records and becoming so. Now we know how special the Bay Area thrash sound really is.
So you haven't been aware at these days.
Of course we have.
How important the bands would,
sure
would
we
be.
are. Of course we are. Yes, we are. We are. If it wasn't for bands like us, there wouldn't be any black metal. There wouldn't be death metal. You wouldn't have Meshuggah. You wouldn't have Cannibal Corpse. You know what I mean? You'd have so many different bands you wouldn't have now if it wasn't for, you know, what we did, and if it wasn't for punk music and pretty much a new wave of British heavy metal, you know, you wouldn't have thrash metal, you know what I mean? So it's all an evolution of everything and what everybody else does to evolve.
But many bands and many different careers were happening. I mean, Metallica, they got way up to the top. Some bands stayed around, some bands disbanded over the years. Are you still in touch with all the people from those days?
I see most of them, the ones that are still active, because we were just on Rock of Area and Rock and Revere with Metallica, and we saw them both days and hung out with those guys both days. We just finished with Testament yesterday. We see Death Angel all the time, so yeah, we do see all the bands that are still around.
Are there times when you think I would like to swap lives for one day with James Hetfield, for example, to see how his life is going?
No, I don't. Never. I'm very content with what's going on with me. I'm happy with it. I would never switch lives with anybody in the world. I don't want to be anybody but who I am.
Just to see how it is to be.
No, I know how it is. I could see how it is. I'm not that curious about it. Okay. Maybe that could be something from somebody who's hasn't been fortunate enough to do music like I have been for 30 years. So, but I don't have no desire for that really. If it ever came to me, great. If it doesn't, great. No biggie.
So you're very content and
very much so.
Yeah. And you're talking about Hattriot. You're playing in there with your both sons.
Yeah.
How old are they now?
Cody's 25 and Nick's 22. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be a twist on that too. Cody's going to sing from now on.
Okay.
Yeah, he's going to play bass and sing, and he sounds just like me. So we're writing a new record right now that has Cody involved, and he's going to do all the vocals. Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah. Was it in the blood from the beginning on that they became musicians?
I guess so, because my daughter, I have an 18-year-old daughter, and she is like one of the lead singers in the chamber choir in her high school, which is the top choir you can reach. So everybody in the family is very musically oriented. So.
In the Bay Area, when this all began, there were many famous clubs like Rudy's Inn and the old Waldorf, Metal Mondays, and all this stuff happened. What is still around of those days?
Nothing.
Of the scene? Nothing. Of the
no
venue?
Nothing. Not one venue. Not even one. They're all gone. They're all gone. There's a place in Oakland that's called the Metro. That's where bands come now, but that wasn't around back then. Every single club is closed. Mm-hmm. So it's just a part of it. It was 30 years. It was 30 years ago. If you were to go back from 30 years and go, were there any clubs left there from 1955? You would be like, no, probably not. So I know it doesn't seem like it's lapsed that much time, but it has. Is it sad? I guess so in a certain way, but there has to be evolution, you know, and things have to change. And all good things must come to an end.
Of course. How's the scene there? Is there a scene as well?
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I have Hattriot there. There's a couple of bands, Culture Warfare, Angerhead. There's some bands out of there that still try to keep it going. So, Mudface. So there's a few bands and they're still keeping up, holding the reins. I think Hattriot will be the next band that you'll hear of Bay Area thrash coming out of there for sure.
I think I heard of them before.
Yeah,
some stuff.
From somebody.
Yeah, of course.
Heard they have like a famous dad or something like that. I don't know.
You're talking about the violence and the new record. There was always some violence in the Exodus shows from the beginning on, happening in the pit and in the audience, and even the band members taking part of it. There was much blood, blood in, blood out. How's it today? Do you go to a show like a bit more mature, a bit more? Careful.
Well, I don't go into shows. I don't go to the pit. I'm not in the bed. I'm 51 years old. Oh, no. I mean, a lot of the places now keep the fans separated from the way they used to be. They used to be right up to the stage every day. Now even little clubs have got some type of barricade or separation, which is good. Nate, in Moscow, they were coming up on stage. They were coming up on stage in a couple of places, you know, and we let them come up. As long as they come up, do their thing, and go out, no big thing. It's part of the music. We love that type of violence. It's energy.
Yeah.
It's great energy.
Of course. But as long as the people take care of each other.
Sure, exactly. And I tell them to take care of each other every night when I'm up there. It's part of it.
Do you like the shows in the little clubs more than in, like on the festivals last week or something? Like little clubs, like 300 people here.
Festivals are great because you can see so many people and reach so many people, you know, and it depends on what festivals you're on. But of course, the clubs are very intimate and right there in your face, and that's always great too, you know. So I have fun with both. Different types of fun, I guess.
Because there are many bands around from the Bay Area, like Death Angel, Exodus,
Sure.
Eaton, which normally do club shows and they are good at it. So, you know,
Yeah.
you're no stadium band.
No, and it never will be that way. It's just not the way it is. You know what I mean? Most of, for the most part, heavy metal's not really stadium music. You know what I mean? Necessarily. You know what I mean? Every once in a while, even on our festivals, they're not stadiums. You know what I mean? There may be a lot of people there. 40. Even Wakken's got 80,000 people, but it's not a stadium. You know what I mean? It's a festival, so it's different.
Yeah. And when they brought out the Black Album, this was the time when Exodus started to fall apart, I guess. Was it
I don't think we knew what we were falling apart in actuality, but we actually all were. And it wasn't just Exodus, it was Anthrax,
Yeah,
it
of
was
course, it was
everybody was falling apart. And by 1983 you had Nirvana, or 93 it was Nirvana and Soundgarden and Alice in Carpenter. It just killed metal. So yeah, but I think people really missed it, and the people that grew up with it all went to school and got jobs and had families. And then as the 2000s came around and started coming in the 2004 and 2005, those people were like, hey, what about these bands I went to school with? Where are they at? And then we got some more run, and now I see father-son, grandfather, father-son at the shows, at Exodus shows. So, you know, it's great that we appeal to a whole new generation.
And many bands came back.
Yes, and they came back.
Thanks to this one event which took place in
Yeah,
2001.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Chuck Billy's Thrash of the Titans.
Yeah.
Yep.
So without this event, maybe some bands won't be around anymore.
Yeah, I
Like
think
Death
that had
Angel.
that had a lot to do with jump starting it again. Definitely Exodus, Forbidden for the one record they did. You know, Sadist kept going for a little while. Laz Rocket even came out of nowhere for a little while and played. You know, and then kept Anthrax going, and everybody kind of got this resurgence of looking at each other, going, you know, we could do this again. You know, and so now I think that everybody's afraid that it's going to go away again, so they're all very supportive of it for sure.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, I
Won't
hope
go
not.
away. They would-
I don't think so,
I
but
don't
you
think
never know.
there's a
But you
second
never know.
grunge, second grunge wave
No, I don't
coming
know.
in.
They all did heroin and killed themselves. So no, that won't happen.
Do you think if Exodus were there for the whole time, you wouldn't be here anymore as a band?
You can't tell what history holds for you. You're just very lucky and fortunate to ride out what you have, you know. And I think that for us, we've always been the type of band, when the chips are down, that's when we're going to come out shining, you know. And I think that there's so much stability in each of us as an individual member alone, knowing that, especially now, we know, wow, we've made it through 10 records and 30 years. There's got to be something special here. Still the fans with the Exodus on all the battle jackets, on every battle jacket you see, our logo's there, you know what I mean? So I think that shows, and you know, it shows, you know, that we are very fortunate to have loyal fans that just, you know, that have been following us. And for some of the people that were kids in the 80s, now they've grown up and they have kids, and they're showing them the way of the pit.
You witnessed the whole rise and fall of the MTV generation as well. How is it for you today with the new media stuff, with YouTube and everything on the computer, every MP3s?
It's a plus and a minus, you know what I mean? You can reach so much more people, even if you're nothing on a little scale. But on the other hand, nothing is coveted, nothing is hidden. You know, I remember in the times when a band came around on tour, and this is in the 70s and the 80s when I was a kid, and you had to go see them because there was nowhere you can go. Oh, there they are right there. Yeah. You wanted to look at them, you wanted to hear that song live, you had to go see them, and that was the only way to do it. That's changed a little bit. I think that concert goers are still the same. They still want to go to concerts and go and see it live, but that's probably been the biggest double-edged sword of it all.
But they all got the cell phones with them and filming.
Right, exactly.
And they load it up to,
Yep.
to YouTube right afterwards.
Yep.
I know you are a huge AC/DC fan of the Bon Scott era.
Yes.
And many people say your singing style is like a Bon Scott in thrash metal. Do you agree?
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Yeah, I have my own tribute band back in the Bay Area too.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so I'd have to agree with that. That's a yes.
Yeah. Could you do a Bon Scott performance here for us? A short one, screaming.
A little Bon Scott from no. That's about what you get.
You have to come tonight to the show. Maybe you get some more.
The Exodus.
With Bon Scott performance, maybe.
Something. We do Dirty Deeds, but we haven't done it since I've been back in the band yet. But we did it on tempo.
Yeah, should do so.
I think I got to learn it.
Yeah. There's plenty of time left to the show, so. I think unlike many metal musicians, you are a huge metal fan besides making music. Because other fans say, okay, I'm doing so much music in the studio and on the stage, I don't want to hear of it outside of it.
No.
Not with you.
Listen to metal when I'll go home. After being on this tour, we'll be home 6 weeks. I'll probably go to the gym the next day, and the next thing I'll be listening to the gym will be heavy metal music.
Exodus.
So yeah, well, not necessarily Exodus, because I play it every day, but metal music.
But you like to listen to Exodus as well?
I listen to the new record because and some of the stuff that Rob sang because I'm learning some of those songs to play live. But for the most part, I don't listen to it all the time.
Of course.
I know it. I know it by heart.
Mm. But what's the biggest difference between your singing style and the one of Rob? You had to adapt something?
I never had to adapt anything. I just be myself, and I just do what I've done for 30 years. So I really don't have to try to contrast to what anybody else has done. I just do what I do.
Okay. But did you honor Rob's vocals?
Yeah, we're gonna
sing him
we're gonna sing 2 tonight.
Yeah.
Yep. I actually know about 5 or 6 different ones, so we move them in and out of the set. So I think that's a pretty good respect.
Have you been aware what the band was doing the 10 years you haven't been there?
Yeah, my eye was out of the corner looking in to see what they were doing. Sure.
Yeah.
Curious.
You were waiting for a call or something?
Not necessarily waiting for anything ever.
Yeah.
It happened, but I wasn't waiting ever. That's why I continued to do Dublin Death Patrol. I did Hatred. I sang in Tenet. I kept myself busy.
You had a job.
Yeah, I had a job, made good money.
But it turned out lucky for both sides.
Yeah, well, yeah, it worked out really good for everybody. The fans as well, too, because the fans are very pleased to see me back, and they love hearing me sing the old songs, as well as his songs.
Of course.
Thanks for supporting Exodus for 30 years. I mean, we've been very fortunate to be relevant for so much time, and it's all because that you guys have supported this band. It's not because of television, not because of radio, not because of video. It's because of the fans. So thank you guys. We'll see you out on the road. Horns up.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
Thank
a
you.
nice time here in the garden, and
the garden.
I hope it's a cool, violent show tonight.
It will be a very good, friendly, violent, fun show tonight.
As always.
As always.